However difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. Success in creating AI would be the biggest event in human history. Unfortunately, it might also be the last, unless we learn how to avoid the risks. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. Work gives you meaning and purpose, and life is empty without it. Not only does God play dice, but He sometimes throws them where they cannot be seen. People won't have time for you if you are always angry or complaining. Women. They are a complete mystery. Life on Earth is at the ever-increasing risk of being wiped out by a disaster, such as sudden global nuclear war, a genetically engineered virus, or other dangers we have not yet thought of. We are just an advanced breed of monkeys on a minor planet of a very average star. But we can understand the universe. That makes us something very special. The past, like the future, is indefinite and exists only as a spectrum of possibilities. With genetic engineering, we will be able to increase the complexity of our DNA and improve the human race. But it will be a slow process because one will have to wait about 18 years to see the effect of changes to the genetic code. Life would be tragic if it weren't funny. I think computer viruses should count as life. I think it says something about human nature that the only form of life we have created so far is purely destructive. We've created life in our own image. I think the brain is essentially a computer and consciousness is like a computer program. It will cease to run when the computer is turned off. Theoretically, it could be recreated on a neural network, but that would be very difficult as it would require all one's memories. The universe is not indifferent to our existence, it depends on it. God may exist, but science can explain the universe without the need for a creator. I believe things cannot make themselves impossible. I wouldn't be here today if it were not for the NHS. I have received a large amount of high-quality treatment without which I would not have survived. Because there is a law such as gravity, the universe can and will create itself from nothing. No one undertakes research in physics with the intention of winning a prize. It is the joy of discovering something no one knew before. I'm not afraid of death, but I'm in no hurry to die. I have so much I want to do first. So long as the universe had a beginning, we could suppose it had a creator. But if the universe is really completely self-contained, having no boundary or edge, it would have neither beginning nor end. It would simply be. What place, then, for a creator? I believe the universe is governed by the laws of science. The laws may have been decreed by God, but God does not intervene to break the laws. My goal is simple. It is a complete understanding of the universe, why it is as it is, and why it exists at all. We only have to look at ourselves to see how intelligent life might develop into something we wouldn't want to meet. To confine our attention to terrestrial matters would be to limit the human spirit. I regard the brain as a computer which will stop working when its components fail. There is no heaven or afterlife for broken-down computers. That is a fairy story for people afraid of the dark. God is the name people give to the reason we are here. But I think that reason is the laws of physics rather than someone with whom one can have a personal. We should seek the greatest value of our action. Look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious. There is no unique picture of reality. We are all now connected by the internet, like neurons in a giant brain. When one's expectations are reduced to zero, one really appreciates everything one does have. Science is not only a disciple of reason, but also one of romance and passion. If the rate of expansion 1 second after the Big Bang had been smaller by even 1 part in 100,000 million, it would have recollapsed before it reached its present size. On the other hand, if it had been greater by a part in 1,000,000, the universe would have expanded too rapidly for stars and planets to form. We are in danger of destroying ourselves by our greed and stupidity. We cannot remain looking inwards at ourselves on a small and increasingly polluted and overcrowded planet. I would like nuclear fusion to become a practical power source. It would provide an inexhaustible supply of energy without pollution or global warming. I believe alien life is quite common in the universe, although intelligent life is less so. Some say it has yet to appear on planet Earth. People who boast about their IQ are losers. Someone told me that each equation I included in the book would have the sales. Science is beautiful when it makes simple explanations of phenomena or connections between different observations. Examples include the double helix in biology and the fundamental equations of physics. I have noticed even people who claim everything is predestined and that we can do nothing to change it look before they cross the road. Time travel used to be thought of as just science fiction, but Einstein's general theory of relativity allows for the possibility that we could warp space-time so much that you could go off in a rocket and return before you set out. Nothing cannot exist forever. Scientists have become the bearers of the torch of discovery in our quest for knowledge. I was born on January 8, 1942, exactly 300 years after the death of Galileo. I estimate, however, that about 200,000 other babies were also born that day. I don't know whether any of them was later interested in astronomy. I am just a child who has never grown up. I still keep asking these how and why questions. Occasionally, I find an answer. Even if it turns out that time travel is impossible, it is important that we understand why it is impossible. There could be shadow galaxies, shadow stars, and even shadow people. I think we have a good chance of surviving long enough to colonize the solar system. If you understand the universe, you control it in a way. While physics and mathematics may tell us how the universe began, they are not much use in predicting human behavior because there are far too many equations to solve. I'm no better than anyone else at understanding what makes people tick, particularly women. We are the product of quantum fluctuations in the very early universe. Although September 11th was horrible, it didn't threaten the survival of the human race like nuclear weapons do. One can't predict the weather more than a few days in advance. Imaginary time is a new dimension, at right angles to ordinary, real time. If I had a time machine, I'd visit Marilyn Monroe in her prime or drop in on Galileo as he turned his telescope to the heavens. It is not clear that intelligence has any long-term survival value. Keeping an active mind has been vital to my survival, as has been maintaining a sense of humor. In less than 100 years, we have found a new way to think of ourselves. From sitting at the center of the universe, we now find ourselves orbiting an average-sized sun, which is just one of millions of stars in our own Milky Way galaxy.